By the mid-2020s, global electric vehicle sales were clearing 22 million units a year. At the exact same time, major markets were pushing renewable energy toward 50% of their total grid capacity. But building a grid around the weather exposes a structural flaw: intermittency. Solar and wind power generation fluctuates unpredictably with cloud cover and air currents. This graph illustrates the resulting timing mismatch. The yellow curve, showing solar output, plummets right at sunset. But that blue line, human energy demand, spikes at the exact same moment as people return home for the evening. Now add millions of commuters plugging in their cars at 6 p.m. That creates a massive, concentrated strain during the grid's most vulnerable window. Under the traditional model where cars only consume power, mass electric vehicle adoption was on track to break the very green energy system it was built to support. A statistical reality changes how we approach this problem. The average vehicle sits parked and completely unused for 95% of its operational life. An electric vehicle is essentially a massive, high-voltage battery that happens to have wheels attached to it. Could these millions of idle cars provide the exact stabilization the grid currently lacks? Stabilizing renewable energy doesn't require manufacturing millions of massive new utility batteries. The storage capacity already exists, sitting dormant in our own driveways. This requires vehicle-to-grid, or V2G technology. V2G allows an EV to discharge stored power backward into the grid during peak demand. Connected, a fleet of 10,000 EVs represents 800 megawatt-hours of distributed energy storage. That fleet matches the raw output of a mid-sized power plant. But unlike a traditional plant, these vehicles can deploy their stored power in milliseconds. This creates a phantom, decentralized power plant. It bypasses traditional infrastructure bottlenecks because it is located exactly where the human demand exists. If millions of vehicles draw and discharge power at random, power lines will overload. The resulting voltage fluctuations would rapidly destabilize the electrical grid. Managing a bidirectional web of millions of nodes requires a real-time conductor. Artificial intelligence provides the orchestration layer to keep the system intact. The AI system calculates macro variables continuously. It monitors municipal grid demand, tracks fluctuating energy pricing, and analyzes local weather forecasts to predict sudden drops in solar or wind generation. At the exact same time, it balances micro variables for every single car. It monitors individual cell-level battery chemistry to prevent degradation and factors in the highly personal daily driving habits of the owner. Human operators cannot process millions of simultaneous data points per second. Without AI orchestration, vehicle-to-grid is destructive. With it, the grid operates as a perfectly balanced, breathing energy organism. This visualization shows energy arbitrage. The AI buys electricity off-peak when cheap and sells it back during peak hours. Simultaneously, machine learning models control thermal conditions, keeping battery health at 85%, even after 200,000 miles of driving. For commercial fleet operators, this automated revenue stream becomes a material line item. Buying low and selling high can offset up to 25% of total vehicle operating costs. Automobiles spent a century operating purely as depreciating liabilities. AI orchestration turns them into active, revenue-generating assets. By the early 2030s, the financial math behind vehicle ownership inverted. By 2033, the vehicle operates as an intelligent energy asset that happens to move people. This financial reality forces automakers to adjust their assembly lines. They are building modular grid infrastructure alongside transportation. A vehicle that participates in the grid costs significantly less to own than one that stays isolated. That mathematical advantage makes non-participating cars economically obsolete. Traditional car dealerships are adapting to survive. They are evolving past standard vehicle sales to offer energy management consulting and grid service contracts right on the showroom floor. Major automakers and utility companies are forming strategic partnerships to govern these massive new power flows. But this relies on continuous streams of telemetry. The major unresolved tension is data governance. Who actually owns and profits from the energy data generated by millions of private citizens? Despite those hurdles, the result is a vast, interconnected web of stored energy operating in real-time harmony across an entire continent. The survivors of this transition are the architects of a massive AI-managed power network that operates across the entire continent.